Welcome to the Golden Pathway Zoom seminar this Christmas week. Merry Christmas to all of you and a Happy New Year. We are here to celebrate the stupendous power of your threefold flame with a twinkle of Christmas. The Golden Pathway has been around for the past 10 years, and we've been doing seminars on topics as varied as your psychology and healing your psychology, health and healing, relationships, creating abundance in your life. And this year, our theme is the path to inner peace. And isn't this a great year to help us all come to a place of inner peace that we may magnify that on our beloved planet? Our presenter today is CarolAnn Bethel, who was born in England and now lives in Bendigo, northwest of Melbourne, Australia. She has in-depth knowledge of aromatherapy, and she also knows a lot about the Kabbalah, and she's going to teach us today about our threefold flame. She has practiced and lectured for over 30 years, traveled extensively throughout Ireland, Europe, and the Middle East, and she's also lived and worked with the Bedouins in Arabia and was a nurse in the wilds of Papua New Guinea. In this session, she is going to help us realize with our real eyes our potential and our nearness to our threefold flame, who she says is our best friend. You will receive many practical tips for working with our threefold flame, secrets, waiting discovery. So the Ascended Master El Morya has advised us to polish the white stone of our beings, which is the white stone in our hearts. But what is that white stone? And did you know about the fountain of faith? You're going to hear about these precious teachings today and become aware of how they can afford you countless blessings. And while we're speaking of blessings, let me just say, I'll say it again at the end of this session, but we are at a point this year where if you're looking for somewhere to donate and relieve your tax burden for 2026, we are happy to welcome your contributions to keep the Golden Pathway Zoom seminars on YouTube and on Zoom. So with that, I'd like to welcome CarolAnn Bethel, and she can tell us about the stupendous power of our threefold flame.
Ah, thank you, Patricia. We'll just get into the program and into our screen share. Wonderful. And I just need to get a pointer, so excuse me just a moment. Thank you. And get rid of that. Well, welcome everybody to our presentation today, The Stupendous Power of Your Threefold Flame. And this is presented for the Golden Pathway by CarolAnn Bethel today, the 21st of December, 2025, with a twinkle of Christmas. Beloved Zarathustra requested this decree 0.06 be given daily for 6 weeks prior to Christmas. This was in preparation for the celebration of the birth of the Christ in you and all light bearers on Christmas Eve. And on Christmas Eve 1223, Francis of Assisi experienced the mystical joy of holding the Christ child as he worshipped at Greccio. It was witnessed by his friend John Valletta and reported in Bonaventure's writings. Bonaventure, of course, was one of the incarnations of our beloved Linello. Francis Assisi had realized his nearness, and our beloved Linello teaches us about nearness and the importance of nearness. Linello said, I come that you may realize with real eyes how close, how near you are to the coming to the moment of the cosmic Christ consciousness, yet how far you are because of an absence of the realization of your own nearness. If you fail to apprehend your nearness, you will still be as children who play, not as wise ones entering in. Today, we're going to begin with learning 12 surprising strengths of our threefold flame. and a cosmic threefold fountain. When Saint Germain was in the Sahara Desert as the king, as he was preparing to leave, he gave a great feast, and at that feast he gave this invocation. O thou mighty, omnipotent source, thou who dost govern the universe, the flame in each human heart, we give love, praise, and gratitude unto thee for thine own life, light, and love in all things. We adore thee and look only unto thee, the presence in all things, visible and invisible, evolved and unevolved, thou ceaselessly flowing stream of life, who doth forever pour thyself into all creation, the one self in all. My heart cries out to thee as never before to arouse these light bearers. Oh, sorry, pushed the wrong button. To listen to their heart flame, to become their threefold flame. Becoming is an English term. It used to mean when a young girl had finished schooling and was coming out into society. And as an adjective, it means attractive and gives pleasure. But as a noun, it means far more profound. It means any change involving the realization of potentialities as a movement from a lower to a higher level of actuality. Elizabeth Clare Prophet said, your threefold flame is the very person of God within you. You honor it, you love it. It becomes the moving force of your life. Ultimately, you become one with your devotions. You come to love that flame so much, your soul becomes fused with it. And that is precisely what Serapis Bey teaches us in his great monuments of Egypt and Greece. Serapis Bey carved this message into stone in the pyramids on the Giza Plateau, in the temples of Luxor on the side of the River Nile, and in Greece, the Parthenon. So who is our threefold flame? Well, our threefold flame is our best friend, our best mate, our bestie. As we adore our threefold flame, we become more of that flame. Sorry, the screen's frozen. Just wait for a moment and get it back again. And I'm sorry.
Click on the slide and then it'll move.
Click on the slide. Oh, thank you. The threefold flame and the Holy Christ self are our best friends. They have stood with us through eons of time, countless embodiments, through the ups, the downs, time and time again, until finally we reach our beloved mighty I Am Presence. This is the goal of life, to become who we are. Ein Sof, or God, took one spark from his heart and placed it in the threefold flame in our hearts, a divine spark. Look at the wonderment in this child's face at the sparkler. Look at this hand. It's an old hand. It has more wrinkles than Dad's hand. Do you remember when you first saw your spark? Elizabeth Clare Prophet told us that one of her favourite teachings of Mark was when he dipped his finger in the ocean and he said, Elizabeth, this drop of the ocean is exactly the same as the rest of the ocean in quality, not in quantity, but in quality. And that divine spark that God put in your heart is exactly the same as God. It is God. It is a part of God. It was a part of his heart. And in quality, it is exactly the same as God, not in quantity, but in quality. Decree 33 tells us there is safety in the threefold flame, and that becomes very important as we go through this particular process. There are some unique features of your threefold flame. Some of them you may know, some of them may be brand new to you. And I would suggest if they are, you just jot a note of the ones that are new to you so that you can review them afterwards. Your threefold flame is needed for the fourfold configuration of the squaring of the cycle, which is very important for your ascension. It is the pathway to your Holy Christ self and mighty I Am Presence, and in fact forms a trinity with them. It's also the terminal focus of your crystal cord. When Ein Sof sends the energy down through the spherotic tree, comes into our crown chakra, goes down into our heart, into the secret chamber of the heart, and then into the center of your threefold flame within the secret chamber of the heart. This is the Klarlik tree, and there is a place there called the hut. The hut is not one of the original 10 Sefirot because it is in a different dimension, but it is the seat of the secret chamber of the heart. Hermes Mercurius Trismegistus placed his emerald tablets in the secret chamber of the heart because he said that they would be very useful to us as we progressed. These are very special emerald tablets. They are not engraved whereby a piece of emerald is gouged out. The writing, the glyphs on these emerald tablets stand bold. They are embossed on the surface. And Hermes said, when we get to a certain rate, then there are keys which will unlock those glyphs. I like to look at the emerald tablets as a safe that requires 2 keys to unlock it. And the 2 keys are your threefold flame and your Holy Christ self. But there are other glyphs that we have in our aura which can only be unlocked by the threefold flame itself. So what is a glyph? What are we talking about here? Well, a glyph is a hieroglyph. It's a written symbol or a cipher, a secret code. It's carefully placed in your aura by an ascended being with your tacit consent. Your tacit consent is when you attend a lecture, when you read a book, whenever you have any contact with an ascended master. I expect you've all had the experience of reading a book that you've read once before, a long time ago, and you think now is the time to read it again. And you have to check to make sure it is your book because there's so much more in that book than you originally perceived. And that's because ascended beings have placed in your aura codes, glyphs, engrams, memory traces, so that when you are ready to hear a little bit more, then it will be there for you. And this engram and this memory trace is placed there by an ascended being and can only be unlocked by your threefold flame. So let's have a look at the history of our threefold flame. Our beloved Saint Germain said, when you, as the mighty I Am Presence, will to come forth into individualized conscious dominion and use the creative word I am, your very first individual activity is the formation of a flame. Then you, as the individualized focus of the mighty I Am Presence, begin your dynamic expression of life. Before the fall, our threefold flame enveloped form. In the first 3 golden ages, the crystal cord was 9 foot in diameter. But after the fall, the crystal cord was reduced to a mere trickle and your threefold flame to 1/16 of an inch. After the fall, the crystal cord, Archangel Uriel tells us in 6302, there shall be an increase in the crystal cord. So we know that the crystal cord can increase with certain conditions, but what about your threefold flame? How big is your threefold flame now? Well, the mere fact you're in these teachings, and for those of you who are thinking of coming into the teachings, which is your threefold flame that recognizes and tells you this is the place to be. So we have to assume it's grown a little bit at least. Wouldn't it be, that's not allowing for all the work you've done on it since then, but wouldn't it be wonderful if your threefold flame was as big as a campfire? Then everybody would cluster around it for warmth and they would want to be near because the glow of the flame attracts people. Better still, what about a bonfire that lights up the universe? Well, coming back to the bonfire. Special story there. So why does your threefold flame remain so small? Well, in the 19th century, 60% of all infants left in orphanages in England and France died during their first year. This was called marasmus, which in Greek means consumption. The name was later changed to infantile atrophy because these babies were fed and watered, but they failed to thrive. Today it's called tactile malnutrition, starving for touch. That little baby has a bandage on his eyes just to protect his eyes from the bright lights of the incubator. Tactile malnutrition is not just a lack of touch. It's lack of a loving touch, lack of a mother's touch. In fact, whether you're talking about your tiny threefold flame or a tiny infant, the need to nurture is paramount. The tiny spark and the tiny child both contain sparks of divinity. Both have God potential. Both crave consideration. Both need nurturing, and both thrive on touch. Elizabeth Clare Prophet, in one of her incarnations in Paris, France, died in the gutter, cold, wet, and hungry. And she shook her fist to the heavens and she said, "Une autre opportunité." One more opportunity. And your threefold frame screams for that, as does the tiny baby. Both of them will reward you exponentially. But without love, they both may wither and die. They have to be nourished. They have to be sustained. Whether it's food and water, breast milk, joy and victory, it doesn't matter. They need our attention and our love. Reverend Valerie McBride recently gave a lecture on change. She said the power of change is the greatest gift of your threefold flame. There is no limit to what you can do with your threefold flame. You can change the way you see your threefold flame, the way you think and appreciate your threefold flame, the way you feel about your threefold flame. And this little yellow illumination bug has got two little yellow feelers checking out this fingernail. We can do that to our threefold flame. We can check it out. We can listen to our threefold flame and change the way we speak to our threefold flame. That threefold flame needs our love. It needs our attention. And every increment we give it enables it to grow and spin and get bigger and be balanced. So let's do that right now, right here today. Let's rest our attention and our love on our threefold flame. Now, if this is a new concept for you, use the threefold flame on the screen. But if you can use the one in your heart, please do. We're going to do that for 15 seconds. Most people can manage that. But that does mean 100% attention on your threefold flame. It does not mean adding that vital ingredient to your shopping list. It does not mean checking the clock to see if it's time for the kids to come home from school. It's 100% on your threefold flame. And all of us have problems with thoughts, invasive thoughts. They don't creep in. They wait till you want to meditate and they rush in. There's a great stampede of thoughts. So we're going to deal with those first. And the best way to deal with unwanted thoughts is breathe. And to take a nice deep breath. And when you breathe out, you see you're subduing those thoughts. Because as you breathe, it slows down the thoughts long enough for you to put your attention on your threefold flame. So if you would like to do this with me now, then please join in. And we begin with taking a deep breath right from the bottom of your diaphragm, a deep breath, and then hold for 1 second. Together, breathing in and hold for 1 second, and then breathing out and push down those unwanted thoughts right below your waist. And then let your attention and your love rest on your threefold flame for 15 seconds, beginning now. That was beautiful, wasn't it? Every time you do that, your threefold flame will respond. And most adults will go to the bathroom 5 times a day. You'll hopefully wash your hands 5 times a day. And in that washing of your hands, you've got 15 seconds where you could think about and send love to your threefold flame. While you're standing in the garage waiting for the petrol to fill up your tank, while you're hanging on the phone waiting for somebody to answer. There are so many opportunities during the day. The more times you do it, the more your threefold flame will grow, become balanced, and respond to you. Somebody once told me that they wanted to do this with their threefold flame. And so they went into the secret chamber of the heart, saw their threefold flame on the altar burning brightly. And this person sent profound love to that threefold flame. And then the threefold flame sent love back. And this person was so shocked. He closed the computer and went home. He came back the next day and did it again and sent more love. It is a wonderful experience to get to know your threefold flame. When you do that for 15 seconds, many, many times a day, you are building a relationship. You are giving that attention and that love. Abraham and the great kings kept their attention on their threefold flame 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 24/7. And we're coming back to that one too. Beloved Kuthumi said, imagine your own self surrounded by your threefold flame. Jesus did. Are you wearing your threefold flame? Why not? Jesus said, greater things than what I do, ye shall do, because I go to my Father, which is in heaven. And in Pearls of Wisdom, volume 25, number 52, beloved Jesus said, by the inner flame and the inner man of the heart, you will not fail. He also referred in the same pearl to your threefold flame as the holy flame of divinity. This is a one simple teaching that Elizabeth Clare Prophet gave before she recorded St. Germain's heart meditation. She said, joy is the first principle of the ascension, not balancing your karma, not balancing your threefold flame. Before all of that, the first principle of the ascension is joy. And joy is the food of your threefold flame. Joy is the thing that makes your threefold flame live, vibrate, and respond and act. In a different teaching, on a separate occasion, Elizabeth Clare Prophet said, please pay attention, this is very important. Every time joy comes into our lives as joy, it must return by cosmic law to the great central sun. Why? All of our good deeds go to our causal body. Why does joy go to the great central sun? Simple. In Kabbalah, it teaches that joy is one of the attributes of Ein Sof, God. How does that help us? What does that do? Well, everything we give to God, what does God do with it? He multiplies it and gives it back to us quickly. And when we send joy to the great central sun, it is multiplied infinitesimally. And things will keep coming to you in tremendous abundance. Now, that's physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, and financial abundance. But there's a condition attached, and that condition is our attachment, our love is only to the flame itself. That's all we have to do, is keep our attention on the threefold flame, and we will be endowed with tremendous abundance. We mentioned before Abraham and the great kings. Elizabeth Clare Prophet said, when they lost the flame, they went through devastation, famine, plague, dispersion, pestilence, dividing of the nation, Babylonian captivity, and the destruction of Solomon's temple. The most holy thing the Hebrew people had was Solomon's temple, and it was allowed to be destroyed because they took their eyes off the flame. Elizabeth Clare Prophet explained the wealth they had came from the inner God flame. And isn't this just what we have in the world today? Do we not have devastation, famine, plague, dispersion, wars dividing the nations? Do we not see our children sold into captivity? And have they not removed the Lord's Prayer from the schools? We have taken our eyes off the flame. If we want that abundance and that life that God had planned for us, we need to keep our eyes on the flame and review how we look at our flame, how we use our flame. Materialization means to realize in matter. This is a statue of Ahemetep III. Ahemetep III was an incarnation of Serapis Bey. He was also the father of Akhenaten, our beloved Linello. Ahemetep III ruled Egypt at the height of its power and wealth. Never before and never since has Egypt seen such glory. Elizabeth Clare Prophet explained that this was a direct manifestation of his communion with his heart flame. Communion means to communicate. He communicated with his heart flame 24/7, as did Abraham and the great kings before they took their eyes off it and lost it. Not only that, Elizabeth Clare Prophet went on to say, Amenhotep III, Serapis Bey, had realized in matter that which was already one with in spirit. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you. The kingdom of heaven is in that divine spark in your threefold flame in your heart right here, right now, today. All we have to do is use it. We're going to take a different look at balance here. Beloved Kuthumi said, the white fire core of the mother sustains the balance of your threefold flame. Elizabeth Clare Prophet said, many of you have a balanced threefold flame. You just can't see it because of all of the different blockages that are in your chart, in your cosmic clock. We're coming back to that too. Most of us have an almost balanced flame if it's not really balanced. Your threefold flame is self-writing. If you get to the end of the day, as I do sometimes, you're a bit of a frazzled pixie, you go to the altar and get rid of all the stuff you want to get rid of and pour the violet flame in there. Remember to call for your threefold flame to be rebalanced and to the white fire core of the mother to hold that balance, and you'll have less frazzled pixie days because the white fire core of the mother is holding that balance for you. Beloved Kuthumi said, this flame is dynamic. The power of this flame is dynamic. Dynamic means intelligence, energy, moving, vital, viral. When you make daily calls for the balancing of your threefold flame, remember to also call for that flame to be manifest and increased. Lord Lanto did. His students could see his threefold flame moving in his chest. Also for the moving of impediments. Now, we don't have time to deal with that today, but in your handouts, there are 5 slides dedicated to that. The first of the 5 tells you what to do. The other 4 show you how to do it. The power of this flame is dynamic. The inner equilibrium will carry you to the weaving of your deathless solar body, the seamless garment. How? Why? Well, in the book Dossier on the Ascension, Serapis Bey said, only God himself can initiate the beginning of your deathless solar body. It's kind of like God gives you the blueprint and then you do the work and you create the body. But it has to be initiated by God. And where is God in your chest? In that divine spark, in your threefold flame. And that's how your threefold flame helps you build your deathless solar body, because it's the spark of God within the threefold flame that initiates that blueprint for your deathless solar body. And all of that can be found in Serapis Bey's dossier on the Ascension. That's why you need a balanced threefold flame if you want to follow the path of the Ascension. And not only that, this balancing also leads to the balancing of your psyche. Wow. What about the flameless ones? What about those who don't have a flame? Well, elemental life don't have it, but they can have one. As Archangel Uriel, Archangel Michael, Ascended Master Funway began their incarnations as elementals. What about those who've lost their flame through anger and misdeeds? Well, the first thing to take them to is Reverend Valerie McBride's lecture on change. But having got that in turn, call to the threefold flame and call for the reinstitution of that threefold flame when that person has made that change and there is a dealing with those misdeeds so they can apply for a new threefold flame. What about the fallen angels and mechanization man? Well, there's a Catholic saying that says, when the father shuts the door, the mother always opens a window somewhere. Well, Ein Sof has not quite shut the door on the fallen angels. He says over and over and over again in Kabbalah, it gives him no pleasure to see the end of the fallen angels. He would much prefer that they turn around, bent the knee, and came home to him. There is a chance there. The door is not shut. It's open just a tiny crack. But the mother, our blessed Mother Mary, comes to this earth to woo the fallen angels back to the heart of her son, our beloved Jesus. And she's had so much success at that. She comes back time and time and time again because she's had success. Mother Mary is an angel. Perhaps she knew some of these angels, and some of those fallen angels were not necessarily the initiators of the fall. Some of them just followed. But nevertheless, the mother has opened a window, the door is open a tiny crack. So even the fallen angels are not exempt from applying for a threefold flame. So how do we do that? Well, the call compels the answer, both for the fellow who's lost his threefold flame through anger, and it doesn't matter. It's the call that compels the answer. There may be a waiting period, there may be a trial and error, there may be other things too. That's up to God, but the call compels the answer. When the messengers went to Africa in Ghana, there was a series of decrees given by Sanat Kumara called the rekindling of the threefold flame. Our beloved Ascended Master Afra is very special. When he took his ascension, he didn't want a name. He said, no, he said, I would just be preferred to be called a brother, because he believed brotherhood was the key to helping Africa. Brotherhood in Latin is fraternity. Afra gave his name to Afra, and Afra gave his name to Africa. But that decree, well, a series of decrees, one of them is Pearl of Wisdom 42, number 23, and in there Sanat Kumara said, at the etheric level, anchored in the etheric body, and for some, just above the level of the Christ self, is the focus of the balanced threefold flame of the holy Kumaras, containing the momentum of our service as priests of the sacred fire on the 7 rays. Thank you, beloved Sanat Kumara. Elizabeth Clare Prophet said, every time you learn a new concept about yourself, write it down. Then talk about them to yourself and to God. And virtue by virtue, awareness by awareness, you become a planetary body, a sun. Create your own affirmations. Now, I realize that that may be challenging for some people, so I've given you in the next couple of slides 3 of mine that I use, and you are most welcome to use them. But please understand they will not be as powerful for you as your own creations would be. So create your own affirmations as soon as you feel capable. Remember the bathroom? I am my threefold flame in action in me now. Now, I may say that up to 15 or 20 times while I'm washing my hands. And there's my post-it sticker on the mirror just to remind me to do it. And then the driving mirror, as soon as I get in the car, on the edge of the mirror is another post-it sticker. On the edge of the mirror, it does not occlude the mirror. Mighty threefold flame, drive and work through me, as I drive and work today and draw closer unto thee. Beloved threefold flame, surround me today, for I am love, wisdom, and power, God's way. And I see that as sacrifice, because for the first time I was subduing the human in preference for the divine. I'm calling down the threefold flame to wrap around me as Jesus did. He walked in his threefold flame. I believe my Lord when he said greater things than these shall you do. And I wrap myself in my threefold flame. And this is what I say when I do that. And in subduing the human in preference to the divine, I see that as a form of holy sacrifice. Elizabeth Prophet called it putting on God. She said, go around saying these affirmations until you really feel you are a living awareness of self. Your life is changing, for you are putting on God. Now, just imagine for a moment you're wrapping your threefold flame around your shoulders like a cape. You're wrapping it round you. What is in your threefold flame? Everything, including that divine spark. So you are wrapping God around your shoulders too. Not just your threefold flame, but God as well. You are putting on God. Mother's words. Ask what your threefold flame can do for you. Well, when I first started learning these different things, I asked for my threefold flame to introduce me to my Holy Christ self and my mighty I am presence. Then I asked my threefold flame to say the decrees through me, not with me, but through me. And the difference was phenomenal. I kept pace. I didn't get lost. I had the same pitch and I remembered all the words. It was wonderful. It was a much easier way to decree. But most of all, I have osteoarthritis in both knees and I'm due for bilateral total knee replacements. I haven't had those knee replacements yet because I found out what the threefold flame could do for me. I called for my threefold flame to go into my knees and build me new cartilage and get rid of the old decrepit stuff. And in 3 days, I could walk. Prior to that, every time I tried to move, it was bone on bone, and children would run away from me because of the noise my knees made. It was awful, and the pain was just undescribable. After those 3 days, I decided I was so happy. I went shopping. I hadn't been in a shop for years because I couldn't walk to get there. But I couldn't get out. I overdid it, as in my stupidity and my ignorance of learning. And I remembered what beloved Ascended Master Godfrey said. And this is an adaptation of what he said. In that supermarket, I said to myself, but nevertheless very loudly to myself, underneath my hanky, in the name and by the power of my threefold flame, I command pain be gone, pain be gone, pain be gone. Pain is like a Shiva movement. You use the little finger of your hand to come down. And your begone is like a swiping from left to right, as if you're swiping something off the phone because you no longer require it. When I did that, before I got the third begone out, the pain had gone. I began nursing in 1963. That's over 70 years ago, and I have never come across anything so effective, so quickly, and so wonderful as this. And by the grace of God, I've never had to use that again because I've been wiser with my exercising and how much I can do. But I walk everywhere. I do all my own shopping now, and my osteoarthritis is still there, but it's healing. And it doesn't give me the pain, and I don't grind my knees. And that's what my threefold flame did for me. Physically, apart from all of the other beautiful things that it does. Then ask what your threefold flame can do for mankind. Well, where do you want to start? Abortion, paedophilia, where would you like to start? This is a quote from Decree 706, and it is an abbreviation, so I could fit it on the slide. Do check it out for yourself. Come, come, come in all your wisdom, love, and power. There's our threefold flame. To strike, strike, strike your cosmic swords of blue flame into all war plans and destructive attempt. There is so many wars going on in Africa and all the way around the world. We have the knowledge, we have the power, the stupendous power of our threefold flame to deal with these things, including abortion, including paedophilia. We have the power, we need to use it. And that is service. It is service to God, it is service to mankind, it is service to your threefold flame, and it is service to your progress on the path. Then ask, what can your threefold flame do for the universe? Well, this is the bonfire, guys. This is where the bonfire comes in. Imagine your threefold flame in the center of your clock as a bonfire. And beautiful rays of love, wisdom, and power are shooting out not just to the periphery of your clock, but out into the universes, plural, out into the universes, because you have a bonfire of a threefold flame in the center of your clock. Elizabeth Clare Prophet said, when you do this, then you cleanse the lines of your clock, and they become portals of purity. And anybody passing by anywhere in the universes can see through your portals of purity your bonfire of a threefold flame burning brightly. And that is a service to mankind and to God, because you are reaching the universes, all of them. That is selflessness. When we give our threefold flame a job to do, it is very important that we, as the human part, exit stage left quickly. The human exits stage left so that we can let go and let God do the work. Let go and let God. Only when you do that will it work. If when I was dealing with my knees, I was also taking analgesics, which I stopped immediately when I was calling for the threefold flame to do that work. But if I'd continued taking those analgesics, God can't do all that work with all that interference there. It is very important that the human gets out of the way and leaves a clean playing field for God to get in there and do the work. And we have a beautiful example of that coming up shortly. And that is surrender. Again, surrender of the human in preference for the divine. And that is a step on your spiritual path. The path of the ruby ray is the path of service, sacrifice, surrender, and selflessness. It is the key to the balancing of your threefold flame. And many people on this earth have never heard of the Ascended Masters or the threefold flame, yet they have balanced their threefold flame and taken their ascension through service, sacrifice, surrender, and selflessness. Think of Mother Teresa. Your choice to become your threefold flame is an exercise in humility and loving obedience. It is a halo you saw in the pictures previously around Kathumi's head, and you will see shortly in El Morya how his head is glowing. It is a halo when you choose to take on your threefold flame as your bestie and work with your threefold flame. Polish the white stone of your being. El Morya requested we did this. So what is the white stone of your being? El Morya said it is our true spiritual identity through our Holy Christ self and threefold flame. He said polishing the white stone of your being leads to will, which leads to devotion, which leads to oneness, which leads to security. We need security in this earth. We are here, we are exposed, we work with all sorts of things. This is where the second or third slide we had on Decree 33, safety in the threefold flame. This is where that threefold flame comes in magnificently in this particular next few slides. When you have touched your threefold flame, when you have worked with it and seen the miracles it can perform, it creates a cosmic hunger that must be filled. When we're walking on this earth, it's kind of like walking in a pair of sneakers. These sneakers have seen much better days. So they're only held together by the new laces that somebody's hopefully put in there. And there's a little bit of anger in there too. So we can look at those, if you would like to, as the dweller. It's time to take them off. It's time to get rid of the dweller, because we have something much better. We have the teachings of the Ascended Masters, but they are absolutely useless to us until we put them on and walking them. When we do that, we walk straight. We don't slouch like in these shoes. We walk straight. Now, they may pinch a bit when we first put them on, and we may even get blisters, because having been sloppy for all of these years, we've got a lot of corrections to do. But there's no gain without pain. When we walk in the new shoes in our threefold flame and we do things God's way, then we can walk around that cosmic clock on every line of that clock and be confident and secure of what we're doing. And if your name is Dorothy and you appeared in The Wizard of Oz, you may have some ruby slippers you choose to wear. The name Dorothy, means star in Greek. It's your choice. We have free will choice. But once you've touched the divine, once the mind has fingered the limitless one, once you've worked with your threefold flame, once you've worked with God, the infinite, nothing else will suffice. When you lovingly, willingly take these shoes off and put them in the bin and put these shoes on and walk in your threefold flame and your new way of doing things, you've changed and you work things differently. You're putting on God, as Elizabeth Clare Prophet said. Then you are secure. Above all, you are safe and secure because there is safety in the threefold flame. When you're in the womb, you lash out and you feel resistance, and that makes you feel safe. But when you're born, sometimes it's not possible to lash out and feel resistance because there's nothing there and it makes you feel unsafe. We have 3 little babies here. This little one here is representing our blue flame today. And as you can see, he's wrapped up and he's tucked up, fast asleep. I love this one. Our little yellow baby here, all wrapped up in yellow. Look at his eyes. He's fighting going to sleep. And we know he's fighting because look at his eyebrows. He's got his eyebrows raised up there because he's trying so hard to stay awake, but he just feels so secure. Sleep is the only option. But look at this little tacker, our pink baby. There's a foot out there kicking and ready. Okay, Mum, I'm safe now. What's next? Well, what's next, my little one, is nothing short of a miracle, because when we are safe, then we can afford to look out at the periphery of our clock, where we see our karmic self, our animal forms, our animal magnetism, our electronic bell, and as the Prophet said, there's some very peculiar looking creatures in there. We made these creatures. We created them from the day of our first fall from grace. And they've been with us, and we know them as the dweller. They are there because we are attached to them until we kick off those sneakers. And when we do that, and when we walk in our threefold flame and in those new shoes, all of a sudden, because we are centered in our threefold flame, we are no longer a part of all those hobgoblins, and we desire to get rid of them. We are not attached to them any longer. We do not set up defenses to protect them as we have done so many times in the past. They are our children. We created them. And although we want them gone, there is that maternal type tie, that final breaking free, that final putting on of the new shoes is sometimes very difficult. But when we do it, we are safe in our threefold flame. And as long as we stayed centered in this threefold flame, swaddled in our swaddling clothes, then we are protected and we can look at these without fear. And without fear of losing them. We have no need for the accoutrements of the human personality. We simply see ourselves nestled in the heart of the Trinity, our Holy Christ self and threefold flame, and we feel secure. And when we are in there, we are objective about everything that's happening on the surface. We watch it, we know it's happening, we make the call for it to be removed, and we stay centered. Then we can reach to a higher realization. We can call to beloved Australia for a circle of blue flame, whirl on the periphery, and get rid of all those hobgoblins, cut them free and take them. Clear the surface. Isn't it wonderful to have a cosmic being come and clear up the mess that we made from the first day that we fell? We miscreated, and we have a mighty being called Australia who will come and deal with them for us. And not only that, as long as we stay centered in our threefold flame down here, Australia can come in closer and go beneath the surface of this life, and then closer still to previous embodiments, and even yet back to the point of our original descent. How great is our special covenant with the great Kali, the mighty being, Australia. Now we're going to look at a threefold flame of a fountain. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. I've got ahead of myself there. First of all, your threefold flame, just to remind you, is your best friend. There's safety in the threefold flame. It unlocks glyphs and keys that are part of your progress. Saint Germain taught us it was the first task we did before we even had a physical body to do it in. The first task we did was to make a threefold flame. It gives us tremendous abundance. It's the first principle of the ascension. It's incredibly important in our deathless solar body weaving and balancing our psyche. It is the pathway to our Holy Christ self and mighty I am presence. It is the most powerful tool that we have. Flesh and blood cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Your threefold flame can. It is the key to change. And in decree 0.06, which is the one we talked about with Zarathustra, every single one of these things is mentioned in that decree. And Zarathustra said, the reason my decree is a little bit longer is because there is so much work to do. And there is yet one other thing. Remember the Holy Kumaras? There is a model of a threefold flame of a Holy Kumara for us to access to model our threefold flame from. Now we'll look at the threefold fountain of faith. On September 21, 1963, Cyclopedia in Virginia announced that the Devas and builders of form began the service of building a cosmic fountain of faith, 1 mile high over Los Angeles, California, and 30 miles in diameter. The exterior surface of bright blue was filled with a vibratory action of the angels of faith from Archangel Michael's band. This little elemental has got his hand up and V for victory. He's volunteering. Elemental life volunteered to sustain that momentum of faith for 100 years, or as long as the great law will permit. We'll deal with scale in just a moment. At the 29-mile diameter, there is builded a beautiful golden fountain of cosmic illumination that rises 1.5 miles into the atmosphere. And at 28 miles down diameter, there is a pink fountain of spiritual love. Charged by the angels of Chamuel's bands, this tripartite fountain is sustained by devas, builders of form, and elementals. That creates a vibratory action of a cosmic Eden in the beautiful area of light's perfection. If we drew that to scale, it would look like this: 1 mile high, 30 miles wide, 1.5 miles high, 29 miles wide, and 2 miles high, 28 miles wide. Put together, it would look like that over Los Angeles, California. Mighty Victory said he was placing this focus for the ultimate victory of the planet in Los Angeles. Guru Ba said, the reason I'm telling you about this is that I feel there is something unique about this city of the angels in terms of the history of this planet and the first 3 golden ages and the early root races. That whatever has been done in Los Angeles, if it can be redeemed, if the souls can be redeemed and returned to the center of God, we will have a tremendous impetus towards the victory of the whole planet. Los Angeles is the seat of the soul chakra for the United States of America. But is it still there? Or has it been withdrawn like the retreat at Mount Shasta? This fountain occurred before Guru Ma left Los Angeles. Was it because too much of the light was misappropriated? Just suppose. Just suppose for a moment it's still there. But no one is working on it. Well, it's not quite true. There is one person working on it, c'est moi. And I just add a very simple call to my elementals calls in the morning by saying to Archangel Michael, would you please look after the angels, the builders of form, and the devas who are looking after that threefold fountain of faith over Los Angeles in California? And just add a simple line like that to keep it there. Dwalkul said, become. In God's holy name, O mankind, I say, awake from the sleep of the ages. In God's holy name, I say, do you not understand? You can become only that which you already are. It does not matter who you are. It does not matter where you are. You could be a homeless man looking for food in a dumpster. It doesn't matter. It's as you are Right now, here today, is where God wants to be. Thank you, Marion Reski, our friend and companion on the path, whose knowledge, research, and inspiration coloured this presentation. And thank you, beloved El Morya, resplendent in your yellow turban and blue gown, and I am reliably informed with pink socks. Ladies and gentlemen, your perfect threefold flame. Thank you.
Thank you, CarolAnn. That was great.
You're
People,
welcome.
any questions or comments for CarolAnn?
Bueno, this is Isabel. I am inspired from the one before, but definitely now I am 100% to follow all these, advices that you said, plus the one that I can create to be focused in my threefold flame as my priority.
Wonderful. Thank you, Isabel.
It's great. Other comments or questions? Getting a lot of excellence. That's wonderful over in the chat. Thank you. And learned a lot in the chat. Thank you. Thank you.
But
Thank you.
unless you do the work, it's not going to happen.
Thank you, Marion.
I
But if you
mean,
do,
if we all think that it's a long way away, it'll always remain a long way away. But if we acknowledge it's here, at least we can work with it.
Yeah.
I
I
have
thank
a
you,
question.
Anne,
Go ahead.
for telling us about how it's important to be thinking of the threefold flame all day long. I never really thought about that. Boy, I'm going to start doing that, though. Definitely.
thank you, Linda.
Can one think it? I mean, it's a lot of talking. I mean, you're constantly talking. I mean, is there another way to communicate with the threefold flame, but with your thoughts and prayers, or just whisper?
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean, you don't have to talk aloud. It's in your heart. You can be quiet and talk to
well,
it.
that's what I'm asking, right? Because in some instances we are asked to actually speak it out loud, but it seems as though, well, okay.
Hey, CarolAnn, did you hear her question?
Well, I did, and what I would like to say is the power of the spoken word, of course, is extremely powerful. But there is a time for the power of the spoken word, and there is a time when you just think that. And when you're going into the secret chamber of your heart, silence is best. Because that's a part of getting away and letting God. When you, from the human condition, human's responsibility is to give permission and to make the call, which is a powerful power of the spoken word. And that is verbal. When you make the call and ask those things to come in, then there's a time of silence and allowing that work to happen and just to go your own way. And sometimes just within your own heart, sometimes you can think to your threefold flame. And as I did in the supermarket, I couldn't yell. I wanted to yell out and do all sorts of wonderful things, but I didn't. I just quietly said, and some of it was definitely coming from my brain. And now if my knees start squeaking and crunching, and they do sometimes if I overdo it, I just think. I don't say anything loud. I just think, threefold flame, please go down there and attend to my knees immediately. I need help. But it's sometimes, as Marion said, it's your thought, because it is a very holy place. The secret chamber of the heart is in a different dimension, and our threefold flame is in that different dimension. But we can pull it down, the same as you pull down your other higher bodies to come down there too. But yes, certainly, thinking it and just sending thoughts to it, like when you send love to your threefold flame, that's not a verbal thing. That's just a beautiful thing that you do. I like to imagine it as the pink coming from my heart, going up to my threefold flame. But I like to think that I'm in my threefold flame now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You said that the threefold flame is in a different dimension. Is it the same dimension that Da'at is in the Kabbalah, do you think?
I think so, yes. I think very much so. And there's different levels. Kabbalah teaches that there are many different levels and that there is a gradation so that when we get the light, for example, from Ein Sof, it's not nearly as powerful because when the light originally came down, it was so powerful it was reduced. And that's where the Spheroth broke. And that's why it was reduced to 1/7 of what had been previously. And so there is that thing that comes down and the different dimensions fall along that scale. But the scale is not actually given, but I think definitely it's from Kabbalah, from that level. Yeah. Well thought of, Patricia. Well done.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Rosalinda.
Yes, thank you. That was wonderful presentation, and I just love the acknowledgement. And I think to summarize what you're saying and what Victorina was asking, it's what Saint Germain calls it the lever of your attention. So if I could help my mind focus on what I'm paying attention to or become more aware of it, then that's the threefold flame. If I could do that, that would be a part of the victory, besides doing the calls or doing the study. So it's a lever of our attention that really can make the difference in everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosalinda. Thank you.
Any other comments? Or the handout is on the website. It's already on the website, and it's also sent out to the people on our mailing list.
I wonder if I might ask a question about the threefold flame in its threefold nature. So the threefold flame is not only a part of our secret chamber of the heart, but it's also a part of our holy Christ self and our I am presence. So how do we relate to those three aspects of the threefold flame, the power of the 3 times 3?
That's a good question, Jeffrey. And it's part of that Trinity. And that's why it said in the presentation, it said that your threefold flame is the pathway to your Holy Christ self. Because your Holy Christ self and your mighty I am presence and threefold flame, they really are just one thing. Although they're described as a Trinity because they have different facets, they're all part of the same thing. They're all one. Marion, did you have something you'd like to add there?
Well, the I am presence is the Father, the Holy Christ self is the Son, the Holy Spirit is the love, and they're all as one in the threefold flame with the Mother. So there's no real problem.
I was just wondering, you were talking before about having a very loving relationship with your Holy Christ self, which I get the impression you're talking about the Holy Christ self at the level of the lower figure in the chart, and that's the Holy Spirit action. I just wonder whether that's just experiencing one part of the threefold flame in its threefold nature, and whether there is more to experience in terms of the other dimensions of the, as Marion would put it, the Father and the Son, the concept of the Christ mind, and the concept of the wisdom flame, and then in the mighty I am presence, the concept of power, the concept of that. Do you ever get that feeling of the three things working together in?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think you can separate them as such, but there are occasions when, for myself personally, I feel very close to my threefold flame, whereas my Holy Christ self and mighty I am presence are perhaps just a little bit further away, within reach, but just a little bit further away. And it seems to me the threefold flame is the most practical thing, but it definitely is the starting point. It's not the be all and end all. It's the starting point. It's the first rung on the ladder leading to the others. And I think they all do work in unison. And you can't really work with one without working with the others, but you can concentrate on one and use it to climb up to the others, whereby you access all of the gifts and everything else that the others offer, your mighty I presence and Holy Christ self. But you've got to begin somewhere. And what we're really talking about here is just putting your attention, your love on your threefold flame many times as you can, 24/7, to be able to make that first communion. I dare say when Abraham and the great kings did it, they were also communing with their Holy Christ self and mighty I presence. I don't think they're exclusively and only the threefold flame. It was the starting point.
The other thing the masters have told us about the threefold flame is that there's a threefold flame in each one of our 4 lower bodies. So this is all complex. It's not just simple and straightforward and easy. We've got a lot of work to do here to work at different dimensions with this threefold flame. Irene, or is it James? The hand up. Irene Scully, James?
There we are. It's me.
Okay.
Anyway, I just wanted to say I've learned so much through CarolAnn's report here today. I didn't realize that you could actually talk to your threefold flame and ask your threefold flame to do things for you. It's such a joy to hear you. Really, you could just tell your heart is so connected to your threefold flame. It is really wonderful to hear. I'd like to hear more of you from you.
And I'll give you a little testimonial. CarolAnn told us about that pain be gone thing at our Mother Mary's tea on Wednesday. And I got a pain in my wrist the other day, and I said, "Okay, threefold flame, pain be gone," and it went away instantly. I was shocked.
Oh,
Thank you,
yeah,
CarolAnn.
amazing.
Thank you, Irene. That's lovely.
Oh, well, it was
Excellent.
wonderful to hear you.
Can
All
you show
right.
us that hand movement again?
If you look on the Golden Pathway, you'll be able to find the previous one to this one, which was called Removing the Impediments to Your Threefold Flame, and that is posted on the Golden Pathway thing. So if you want some more about the Threefold Flame, I suggest you go there, Irene. Yeah.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Can you show us the hand movement, Anne?
Oh, the hand movement. Oh, I have to
Yeah.
find it first.
Pain is you use the edge of it like Shiva, cutting through pain. And then when you say be gone, you turn your hand to the side and move it from left to right. I realize I'm coming in the opposite vision there. It's like swiping something off your phone you no longer want. And it really is just so powerful. And we must pay attention and give gratitude to Ascended Master Godfrey for that, because that was his teaching that I adapted.
Oh, it's really
All right,
wonderful.
everybody. This was wonderful, CarolAnn. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We'll be back in 2026 on the 18th of January with a presentation on astrology with Christine Barrere. We'll be looking for you then as well. And remember, if you need a tax break for 2026, feel free to send the Golden Pathway a donation through the Phoenix Teaching Center and Rosalinda Siciliano. We love you. God bless you. God victory, and stay in contact with your threefold flame. Mwah.
Thank
That's
you.
the Summit Lighthouse Phoenix / donate, and then in the notes put Golden Pathway. SummitLighthousePhoenix.org / donate, and then put Golden Pathway. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, CarolAnn.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Anne.
God bless.